Governor Romney, and I accept this. I mean, Governor Romney has said that he had an experience in a lab and became pro-life, and I accept that. After he became pro-life, Romney Care does pay for tax-paid abortions. Romney Care has written into it Planned Parenthood, the largest abortion provider in the country, by name, does not have any right to life group written into it. He did appoint pro-abortion judges, and a branch of the government, which included his appointees, did agree to fund an abortion clinic for Planned Parenthood. All that occurred after he had become pro-life. Now, those are all facts which we validated, and it seems to me that's a legitimate part of the campaign, is to say, okay, if you're genuinely pro-life, how come these things are occurring?
Governor Romney questions whether you're genuinely pro-life.
I'm not questioned on character or integrity very often. And I don't feel like standing here for that, but let me clarify the things which are wrong and what the speaker just said. And he can get a scintilla of truth in there to make it seem like this is a significant issue. But let's go through one by one. First, in Romney Care, there's no mention of abortion whatsoever. The courts in Massachusetts, the Supreme Court, was the body that decided that all times that there was any subsidy of health care in Massachusetts, that one received abortion care. That was not done by the legislature, would not be done by me either. I would have vetoed such a thing. That was done by the courts, not by the legislature, by me. Number two, it's true, somewhere in that bill of ours, 70 pages, there's the mention of the word Planned Parenthood. But it describes a person on a technical advisory board about payment structures. There's no requirement or no participation of Planned Parenthood in our health care plan. With regards to judges, I appointed probably 50 or 60 judges at the trial court level, mostly, the great majority. These were former prosecutors, 80% of them former prosecutors. We don't have a litmus test for appointing judges, asking them if they're pro-life or not pro-life. These are people going after crimes and the like. I didn't get to appoint any Supreme Court justices. I am pro-life. And the Massachusetts Citizens for Life and several other family-oriented groups wrote a letter 2 weeks ago and said they'd watched my record, that I was an avidly pro-life governor. I'm a pro-life governor. I am a pro-life individual. And I have to be honest here. It is, this is not the time to be doubting people's words or questioning their integrity. I'm pro-life. By the way, is there any possibility that I've ever made a mistake in that regard? I didn't see something that I should have seen? Possibly. But you can count on me as President of the United States to pursue a policy that protects the life of the unborn, whether here in this country or overseas. And I'll reverse the policies of this president. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, he says you're questioning his integrity.
I'll yield to Senator Santorum.
Senator?
I just want to make out one point, and a lot of legislators here in the room, and they know this to be the truth, that if you write a piece of legislation and you say medical care and you do not specifically mention that abortion is not covered, we know from every court decision at the state and federal level that the federal courts and state courts will require it. That is someone every governor knows, every state legislator knows. And so when Governor Romney did not put that in the bill, you can't say, oh, gee, surprise, the court made us cover abortions. He knew very well that the court would make them cover abortions. That's number one. Number two, what we're talking about here is someone who's not going to just check the boxes and say, yes, I'm pro-life. We got a lot of folks who just whisper into the microphone that they're pro-life, and then you have other people go out and fight the battle and defend life and come out of the trenches and actually work to make sure that the dignity of every human life, innocent human life in this country, is protected. And I've done that.
Senator, I admire the fact that you've been a stalwart defender of pro-life, and in a state where that's not easy. I was also a governor in a state where being pro-life was not easy. And I battled hard. What came to my desk was a piece of legislation that said we're going to redefine when life begins. In our state, we said life began at conception. The legislature wanted to change that, to say, no, we're going to do it at implantation. I vetoed that. The legislature also said we want to allow cloning for purposes of creating new embryos for testing. I vetoed that. The legislature did not want abstinence education. I pushed and pursued abstinence education. There was an effort to also have a morning after pill provided to, as I recall, young women in their teens. I can't remember the exact age. I vetoed that. I stood as a pro-life governor, and that's why the Massachusetts pro-life family association, supported my record as governor, endorsed my record as governor. I did my very best to be a pro-life governor. I will be a pro-life president. I'm proud of that. I wrote about it in my book. My record is solid. I appreciate your record. I hope you'll appreciate mine.
Mr. Speaker,